All right, well, sticking with the light reactions, what I'd like to do now is focus specifically on the flow of electrons through the photosystems of the light reactions. Now, the electrons have two basic categories of flow. One is linear, and the other is cyclic. So the electrons will cycle back through. Let's first look at the linear flow of electrons. So light energy, again, is captured by the photosystems. You have photosystem 2 is where that energy is initially captured, and then the electrons are passed via pigments and electron acceptors to an electron transport chain. Then those electrons are passed on to photosystem 1, where they are again, the electrons are again excited by more photons of light, or units of light energy, and those electrons are passed down a second electron transport chain, where they are eventually fed to, or NADP+, to form NADPH, this high energy electron carrier. Now, what's sort of a fascinating thing, sort of a fascinating concept related to this, is that when we look at photosystem 1, here electrons are excited and passed down an electron transport chain. So we know that molecules in photosystem 1 are oxidized. They have lost electrons. Well, those electrons have to be replaced. So the question becomes, where will photosystem 2 get electrons to replace those that were lost to the initial electron transport chain? And the answer to that is water. Water molecules will be split apart within photosystem 2, and then the electrons from water will be used to replace those lost to the electron transport chain. Now, the hydrogen ions will also be passed through the electron transport chain to create a chemiosmotic potential, or create a proton motive force, if we should, or if we could, to power the production of ATP. But from this, we get the molecular oxygen that is released as a waste product. Okay, oxygen is not used by the plants for these photosynthetic reactions. They want the plants need the electrons and the hydrogen from water, not the oxygen. So water, such a noble molecule, donates its electrons to photosystem 2 to replace those that are lost. So imagine we've got these electrons that are excited, passed down this electron transport chain to photosystem 1. Well, remember, more light strikes the electrons, or the pigments in photosystem 2. Those electrons are excited and passed down another electron transport chain. So the question is, well, where does photosystem 1 get its electrons to replace those that are lost to its electron transport chain? And the obvious answer is from the previous electron transport chain. So it all backs up to water. As long as water is in supply, it will be split apart and the electrons donated to the photosystems so that these electron transport chains can continue the production of NADPH and ultimately ATP, the units of energy needed to drive the production of sugars. Now, the other type of flow of electrons is referred to as a cyclic flow. So we know from photosystem, I'll do that in green. We know that photosystem 1 is fed by an electron transport chain that precedes it. Sorry, I'm working on my colors here. Now, electrons will typically flow from photosystem 1 to its own electron transport chain, but there are occasions when these electrons, excited by light, get passed back to the preceding electron transport chain. That electron transport chain then goes through a process like we saw here that produces a little bit of ATP through phosphorylation and then passes those electrons back to photosystem 1. So we do have this cyclic flow of electrons where electrons get excited, pass back to carriers in the preceding electron transport chain. That's used to produce a little bit of ATP. Energy or low energy electrons are passed back to photosystem 1. It gets excited and passed back. It's thought that the purpose of this is to provide photoprotection or a photoprotective element to plants to help prevent the buildup of damaging products from the earlier steps in the light reactions. Now, this is quite a bit of detail. This is more just a flow chart. I would certainly recommend taking the time to go and look at actual diagrams for this in the preceding segment. So I would recommend that you look at figures 1012 through 1015 in the book. Look at the components, look at the flow of electrons and the production of high energy molecules to get a sense of the flow of energy and matter through the components of the light reactions, the photosystems of the light reactions.